Hashtag blessed for sure, man.
I don't think I've used the word blessed in like 3 months, and I used it twice in the last.
I know you said it twice. I'm like, I don't even think this dude believes in God anymore. He's talking about being blessed.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Nerds You're Looking For podcast, a weekly nerd culture podcast that discusses the culture through various segments. My name, of course, is Patrick Kuhn, alongside my co-host, as always, that Tyler Hunt. How's it going, man?
Doing pretty well, man. Pretty exhausted, and I had a brush with my own mortality this week.
Oh,
actually.
yeah?
Oh, well, I should say, like, with getting older, I fucked my back up super bad on
Welcome
Thursday.
to my world.
Yeah, man. I've never felt anything like it before. Like,
it is horrible. It hurts to breathe.
I know. It's like Brittany's been rubbing me down with icy hot for the last 3 days. And not in like the sexual. I
could have done it without that visual.
Not in the sexual way as usual. In this way, to just relieve the pain. But yeah, I've never felt anything like it before. I feel like an old man.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like you can't, you can't sleep. It's fucked up, man. But anyways, how are you?
I'm all right. It's been a stressful week trying to get everything ready for Shocktober. Oh, I couldn't talk there. Which I'll talk about that when I'm into. But tomorrow's actually going to be a different kind of stressful because it's Bears Jaguars tomorrow, and that's the mustache game. Me and my buddy Jeff
I forgot about that.
Had bet whoever's team. He's a Jaguars fan. I'm a Bears fan. And so whoever's team loses has to shave their beard to a mustache. And the kicker is we have to keep it until the team, the Bears in my case, win their next game. And I looked at their schedule and they play the Packers, which they're going to get slaughtered, the Vikings, which that's going to be a bloodbath. And then they have a bye week after that. So I literally, if we lose tomorrow, I will have to keep my mustache for a month. And I look terrible with a mustache.
I mean, at least it's almost November. So you can just be like, oh yeah, it's for prostate cancer awareness. So
my next chance is they play the Buccaneers after their bye week. So they'll have a week to prepare for that shitty team. So hopefully that will be, hopefully they'll beat the Jaguars, but I have like zero faith that they can beat anybody at this point. So probably shouldn't have bet before the season, before I knew what kind of team they were.
I appreciate how optimistic you are every year about the Bears. Like, you've been through a lot over the last 10 years, so.
Yeah, it's not going to be great. I look terrible with a mustache. But
I can't wait, man. I'm kind of like, I really could care less who wins that game, but I'm sorry. I'm kind of rooting for the Jaguars just so I can see you with a mustache fuck the next month.
Yeah, it's not going to be pleasant. Yeah. My wife is really, really she's super, super nervous because she hates when I rock a mustache, because I did go for that look for a very short period a couple of years ago and she hated it. And so, we'll see how it goes. I'm not looking forward to it.
Well, it gives her even more reason to root for the Bears, I guess, tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't even think she knows football. I know she doesn't know football. So
cool, man.
All right, so we start off each episode by kind of checking in with each other. We call it What We're Into. So this week, what are you into, Tyler?
I'm going to talk about a movie I watched for Shocktober this week.
Okay.
It's called Knock Knock. Are you familiar with this movie?
Yeah, I almost watched it the other day, but I didn't think it necessarily qualified because it's more like a thriller, isn't it?
It's a horror thriller.
Okay.
There's horror elements to it, but I would say it's more thriller, but IMDb calls it a horror thriller, so I'm fucking counting it. So
okay.
Keep your judgment to yourself. But anyways, this
I watched
movie...
Sweeney Todd the other day.
So according to IMDb, when a devoted husband and father is left home alone for the weekend, two stranded young women unexpectedly knock on his door for help, which starts out as a kind gesture, results in dangerous seduction and a deadly game of cat and mouse. So I'm not good with synopsis like you are, so I'm just going to cheat off of IMDb for that one. But this movie stars Keanu Reeves and was directed by Eli Roth. And I remember seeing previews for this movie at one point.
His wife is one of the women, isn't it?
Yeah, she was actually the lead in Green Inferno as well. Her name is
okay, cool.
Lorenza Izzo. She was one of the females. And then the other female's name is Ana de Armas. And the thing that I recognized her from was she was Miles Teller's wife in War Dogs.
Okay.
Not a bad cast. I'm forgiving of Eli Roth. He's made a lot of shit. Of shit, but I think that deep down he does have good ideas, and he is, I don't want to say a master of horror because he is not that, but like he is kind of inventive, and he's done some cool stuff. So this was on Hulu Plus, watched it for free. It has a 4.9 on IMDb and a terrible Rotten Tomatoes score. So I was like expecting the worst and was just going to kind of suffer through it and was kind of curious what happens in this movie. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than that.
Okay.
I thought that it was really effective, and it was kind of, in a way, like it's more psychologically scary. It's like, what would you do in this circumstance?
I just wouldn't have sex with a woman.
Well, no, like if social media is involved and, you kind of, do you feel sorry for Keanu Reeves' character because he really tried to avoid it and they pretty much like suckered him into it? Or do you hate him because he ended up, he did cheat on his wife in this movie. So there's that moral dilemma because they really fuck with this guy. It gets pretty dark. The problem with this movie, the tension's great. Like I was constantly invested. I'm like, how is this going to end? What's going to happen? What's going to happen with him and his wife and his family if they find out? And then, the more they fuck with Keanu Reeves, the more he has to act like he's being fucked with.
Yeah.
And Keanu Reeves is a terrible actor. Like almost every scene where he's upset or he's being tortured or whatever, he is like, it's laughable how bad his acting is. And
you get that a little bit in John Wick.
Yeah, I hate saying that too, because he seems like he's a super cool guy outside of movies and he's made some great stuff. But I mean, he's not a good actor. I mean, that's how it is. And I think that really kind of took me out of it. Like scenes that were supposed to be high tension, his acting was so terrible that that's all I could concentrate on. So that was really disappointing. But all in all, I thought it was mostly an effective movie. I thought the girls did a really good job. They play a certain kind of crazy that really worked for this movie. So I'd recommend it for Shocktober, especially if you can watch it for free on Hulu. Or not free, but a site that you already, subscribe to. So I'd recommend it. Don't expect anything too crazy, but I thought that it was a pretty effective movie. I just wished maybe like they should have gone with like a complete unknown as opposed to Keanu Reeves' shitty acting.
Yeah, he's kind of a guy like you said, I want to like because he seems like a super chill guy.
Yeah.
But he's not good. Like you said.
I've read stuff, like apparently he's had like a pretty shitty life. Like I've read stuff about his personal life. It's like something where you kind of feel sorry for the guy, and he donates a ton of money that he makes to charities. And so you want to see him succeed, but then you watch movies like this and you just kind of have to grin and bear it through his performance.
But not everybody's good.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of an expert in bad acting.
Speaking of, what are you into?
Well, it should come as no surprise. We've been talking about this a lot. Shocktober in Irvington was last night. Kind of was a weird experience because we were showing our first ever film, Date Night of the Living Dead. It just kind of felt weird because you couldn't be there, Tyler, unfortunately. And I mean, it was such a team effort that I kind of felt weird because being up there, kind of taking credit for it by myself. Cause we co-directed it and your wife was basically the star of it. And it kind of felt weird being up there by myself. But other than that, it was a really cool time. Shocktober, we went last year. And I mean, it was a decent turnout last year. There was a couple of really good shorts there, but it's definitely growing. You can see it year by year. We didn't unfortunately get to go to the first one, so I can't say that I've seen it evolve since the first one, but especially since last year. I mean, there was probably almost double the people that were there last year to this one. There was some really good shorts. There was JP Leck was there who had done a short. I guess he's done it every year. And so that was pretty cool. There was the Circle City Ghostbusters, where I'd never seen before, but they're pretty legit in Indianapolis. And then there was a couple of the 48-hour film projects that were really cool to see the end result and know that they only had 48 hours to put that together is pretty impressive. It was really cool how everybody kind of embraced our little silly film. And I felt blessed that they really kind of got it and understood that we didn't really know what we were doing, and we were just kind of putting together something that was just fun, and people laughed a lot. And it was weird. And we were talking about this earlier. I forgot how funny it was.
Yeah.
Because we had to film it, and then I had to sit there for 2 weeks and try to put it together. And that was really, really stressful. And so over watching it over and over again and syncing the audio and video and cutting it and doing all these things that you don't think about when you watch movies, how frustrating that whole process can be, that I kind of lost that it was really funny. I mean, I know that kind of sounds arrogant because I wrote it, but it is really funny, and people laughed the entire time. So I felt really good about that because I kind of had lost that in the whole process. So it was really cool. People embraced it. I appreciate that because, I mean, it was our first time, and I was kind of stressing out a little bit about it. I did have kind of an awkward moment towards the end. The interview was fine, but afterwards, after they had shown all the shorts, they had like a Q&A where all the directors went up there we had like audience questions. And I felt kind of awkward because, I mean, we did this fun little thing, little short video, but these guys, I mean, not to say that we didn't work hard at it, because we did, but they were legit, like legit scary too.
Really?
And I felt awkward being up there with them and answering, like we just would go down the line, and I just felt like I shouldn't be here. One of these things doesn't look like the other, and I felt kind of awkward about it. They asked some really good questions, but they were all like, how do you determine what you're going to shoot when? And I'm just like, I thought to myself, well, we just did what we could do. Like, we shot all the zombie stuff in one day, and the rest of it was just kind of like me and Tyler. So after we recorded one night, we would just go and take care of it. So it just like, they had really articulate, like thought out answers.
For sure.
And I was just like, I don't really know what I'm doing. So I just kind of went with it. And I don't know. It was kind of awkward at that moment, but other than that, it was a really fun night. And like I said, everybody just embraced our little silly film, and I felt kind of blessed.
Hashtag blessed for sure, man.
I don't think I've used the word blessed in like 3 months, and I used it twice in the last.
I know you said it twice. I'm like, I don't even think this dude believes in God anymore. He's talking about being blessed. No, I was so bummed that I didn't get to go.
Sure.
Like, I mean, we talked about probably back in May or June. We're like, hey, we're gonna make a movie for this, and so, you know, that's 5 or 6 months out, and I've been looking forward to it. And unfortunately, I had something come up for work that has to do with my work center and my workload, and there was like no missing, and I had to be there, and I was super disappointed about it, but I'm really glad to hear that it played well, because, you know, we're not professional. This is very, very, very amateur of us.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, we sunk, like, you sunk way more time in it than I did. I'm not trying to take any of the credit for what you did. I know you worked really hard on it, but we did, like, between getting everybody together, getting this movie shot, like, it was a lot of effort. So I'm glad that people enjoyed it and people thought it was funny, because whenever you sent me the finished product, because you did all the editing, and I sat there and I watched it and I laughed my ass off, and I didn't know if others would laugh at it, because I was laughing at it because, I mean, it's us and we're in a movie and it's funny. So it makes me really happy to think to hear that other people liked it just as much as I did, to be honest. It is a really funny movie. It's really campy, and who knows, maybe someday we will put it up on YouTube or something and everybody can see it. But until now, you're going to have to like pay us.
No, like I said, it was fun. It was just, I was super, super nervous, and my wife was sitting next to me, and she was just like, you need to just cool down, because she was telling me the entire time, she was like, it's funny. It's a fun little thing. Like, people are going to like it. And I was like, I don't think so, man. Like, I was getting super nervous, and I was like, you have to say that. Like, you're my wife, you're legally obligated to say stuff like that. So, and when it started and people, like, the first joke hit and people just started cracking up, I was like, like, it's going to be all right. They like it. And I mean, it was the whole time, man.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. I'm really happy about it. It was, like I said, it was something we've been talking about for the last half year, and it's kind of cool that it came and did well. Very, very disappointed I didn't get to see it play, but I'm really excited that this thing exists. Like, it was a fun project to do.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely not going to commit for next year because it was super, super stressful. And I don't even know where we would begin because this was my one and only idea that I thought we could logistically get done. But I mean, it would be fun. I enjoyed it. I doubt I'd ever be in it again just because that's not for me. Like
it's hard watching yourself in it for sure.
I said this during the interview part of Shocktober. I like the idea of me acting more than me actually acting. Like when we were shooting it, I was like, I'd rather just be behind the camera right now. Like I didn't commit to it because I don't think I have it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like the idea of me being an actor more than actually physically doing it.
Yeah, dude. Whenever you sent me the script, you're like, and I'm going to be Ben. Like you were from the get go, like I'm doing this. So it's interesting. You didn't enjoy it as much as you thought you would.
Yeah. I felt like if this was going to be the only time we ever did it, I wanted to be in it. And I was glad that you decided to be in it as well. Cause I kind of wanted it to be just the two of us that were involved. And I don't know if we would have even been able to do it otherwise, but it was a lot of fun. If we do it again, I definitely won't be in it because that was torture.
For sure.
I was really, really bad.
I don't know. Anytime you watch it, like even whenever we edit the podcast, like I have a hard time listening to myself. So watching myself is difficult too. But I think that we added a campiness to it that really works for the movie. For sure. Made.
I will say, for the record, though, Brittany was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching her. Like, I don't know that she's ever acted or anything before, like in high school, but she kind of took to it.
Yeah, it was crazy because I don't think she read the script prior to coming over that one night. And then it was just like we would feed her the line and she just got it immediately. I sent it to her. So she knew what was like, but she did not memorize anything. Like she read it once and then it was like you said, we were feeding her lines. And I mean, it was crazy because we would just say, okay, this is what's happening. And she nailed it first time. I fucking wrote the thing and I couldn't remember what I was supposed to say. I mean, in all fairness, like half the movie, she's just really annoyed with me, and that's not really acting for her. I've made that joke a few times, but there is probably some truth to that as well. Yeah. That was another thing, and I'll make this real short because we got to move on. But there was a lot of inside jokes, and I don't know if the bloopers at the end necessarily hit as well as I thought they would because it's mostly just us laughing at how silly we were. But one thing that I really enjoyed while editing it was just how like irritated and pissed off she was. Her character was at your character, and just knowing that you two are married, it kind of made me laugh a little bit as I was watching it. She's really good, and she was really annoyed and pissed off throughout the whole experience at your character and probably a little bit at you too. So that probably helped a little bit. For sure, man. Like all in all, very fun experience. Yeah, for sure. All right. So our next segment is just plainly called Comics. Tyler and I read a ton of comics and we like to spotlight one or two a week. So what'd you read this week? I read Reborn 1, which is the new book from Mark Millar, illustrated by this unknown artist named Greg Capullo. Yep. That's a joke. So if you don't follow comic books, you're probably like, yeah, he probably is unknown. But for our listeners that have been with us for a while, you know that Greg Capullo illustrated the Batman New 52 version with Scott Snyder. But this book, I honestly didn't know much about it, except it was Mark Millar's new book and was being written by Greg Capullo, or drawn by Greg Capullo. So obviously I was drawn to it for that name, those names alone. And I'm really glad that I picked it up. This is put out by Image. If you don't know who Mark Millar is, he wrote Kick-Ass, Hit Girl, Wanted. I'm sure there's something else I'm missing. Secret Service. Oh yeah, Kingsman. Duh. So he's done a lot of stuff that's been turned into movies, a lot of stuff that's great work. And this is actually the first. I guess I read a little bit of Kick-Ass and I've read a little bit of Kingsman, but this is like the first time I've picked up a comic that he's written. Yeah. And I'm really glad I did. It's a really cool concept, and I'm trying not to spoil too much, although it's kind of alluded to with the synopsis of what this comic's going to be about. I don't want to spoil the way issue 1 ends, but it's essentially, it looks at kind of the afterlife a little bit and what happens after we die. So it follows the whole issue. This follows this elderly woman named Bonnie, and she's reflecting on her life. She's in an old folks home, and she's thinking about like her husband died 15 or 20 years before, she's kind of facing her mortality. And I don't want to spoil anything, but towards the end of the comic, she does die, because you got to get to what the book's about, which is what happens after you die. And
I don't know, it was really kind of touching. Just watching this older woman for the most of this comic there's not a lot of action. It's just her reflecting on her life and reflecting on like her father, who obviously died a long time ago, and her husband, who she misses. And whenever she finally gets to the afterlife, it's really sweet, and like just her running into a character from her past, and I won't spoil who it is, but basically the way that this is envisioned is that you die and you go into this world where you're like part of the resistance against like these ogres and demons and stuff. And it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool concept, and I'm excited to see where it goes. You don't really get to see much of the afterlife because she dies towards the end of it, so you're only going to see a few pages of it.
Sure.
But I think Greg Capullo is going to have a field day with some of the stuff he gets to draw here with like the creature design and what humanity, or I don't know if you'd call it humanity anymore if they're dead, but what they're kind of up against. So I'm really excited to see where this comic goes. Excellent storytelling, excellent character development already. So I'm definitely excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, this came out last week, didn't it?
No, it came out Wednesday, I thought.
Okay, yeah, that's what I meant. So I haven't picked this one up. I haven't read it. I actually didn't go to the comic book shop this past week just because so crazy busy with the film. And that'll be the last time I say that, I promise. But yeah, it's one that I'm going to pick up for sure. I had 10 that I was supposed to pick up this past Wednesday. So I got a lot of reading to do. I feel like that kind of went by the wayside this last couple of weeks. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. It sounds really interesting.
It is for sure, man. You said you didn't get to really read much. What did you read?
Read Darth Vader, number 25. I actually bought it on Comixology because this came out on Wednesday as well. I'm doubling up, which I don't like to do because I'm going to buy the hard copy of it, but I also bought it on Comixology, which kind of sucks, but I wanted to read it and I didn't want to wait till next week to get it. So the reason I couldn't wait was the fact that it ended its 2-year run with this issue. Number 25 was the last issue, and I've really, really enjoyed this book. I also, and this is just kind of the weird OCD-ish thing that I have, I like the fact that they ended with 25. Like, I think that's a really cool number it's a nice, solid number to end with. And I've talked about this book on a couple of different past episodes. I've also talked a lot about it on the New Comic Book Day videos that I do, which I took a couple of weeks off just because, again, I was busy. But I'll be starting up again in a couple of days when this comes out. I really like this book because it gives you a vulnerable side of Vader. You don't really see that a ton in the movies.
Yeah.
Not until you really Jedi for a little bit at the end, and that's basically it. And so I like that they kind of dabble in that a little bit. So it's just a different side of the character that you get to see. And I think that especially when you're ending a run, just comic books, movies, TV, whatever, there's so many different ways that you could end something. And I really liked how they chose to end it. They were they weren't silent issues, but there wasn't a ton of dialogue in 24 and in 25. And so I really appreciated how they kind of made the artwork tell the story. And there was some interesting stuff, especially in 24, kind of him just looking back on certain events in his life. And so I appreciated that. They kind of dabble into some of the movie stuff. And so I appreciated that. There is kind of a bonus story at the end that was kind of cool that flashed back to something that happens in, I think it was issue 1, 2, or 3. It's one of the early issues of this run. And so I really appreciate that as well. So, well, I guess if you haven't started reading this, I guess you could start picking up the volumes, and I would definitely suggest it because it's really solid work.
Yeah, I've been collecting this, and I'm so far behind on it, but it's one of those things I do plan on going back and reading. I really enjoyed what I did read of it. It's just one of those things that kind of fell by the wayside. So I'm excited, especially now that it is done, to go back and read what I'm missing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
All right, man. Ready for nerd news?
For sure.
So every week we go through all the big nerd headlines that have come up since the last time we spoke. I only have a few this week. Not a ton broke, but the first one was, I think it was announced like right after we got done recording last week. They announced the person. They didn't announce the character. They announced the person who will be playing the villain on the Defenders TV show. And it's going to be Sigourney Weaver. So I'm curious who she's playing. I would assume that it's probably a Marvel character that is already in existence in the comic books, but they did not announce who, from what I understand. So I'm excited to see who she's playing. Obviously, she's a very high caliber actress. It's kind of cool to see her brought into this because you need a big personality to have those 4 heroes go up against. So I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
Yeah, I think it's cool because we haven't seen a female villain in this. Not in Luke Cage. You don't get it in Luke Cage. You don't get it in Daredevil. You don't get it in Jessica Jones. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. And like you said, it needs to be a big personality, and she's a fine actress. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
For sure, man. Let's see. Like I said, I don't have it too much. Last week we did talk, I believe it was last week, I brought up the live action Lion King movie. So I brought up the live action Lion King movie, and we kind of went off into a tangent about the live action Disney movies. And I talked about my idea back when I saw Prince of Persia for a live action Aladdin movie, right?
Yep.
So like 2 days later, they announced the live action Aladdin movie being directed by Guy Ritchie. So
that's an interesting choice.
Like I'm usually very, very pro these movies. Like I'm very optimistic about these movies, but I just don't think this one's going to work. He's going to do a dark, gritty Aladdin movie that nobody needs. Like what's so good about the Aladdin cartoon is the comedy and Robin Williams and the genie. And I don't know that I'm interested in an Aladdin story without that character.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do because you can't do it without the genie. And I don't know, do they just scrap it and they just say, just do something else, or do they try to get somebody that can do an impression? I don't think you. No, I think that's in poor taste.
I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll make the genie a more serious character who maybe who cracks some jokes here and there, but
then it's not Aladdin.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe the original Aladdin story. I'm not very familiar with it, but it's in like Aladdin and the thieves or something. I don't know.
I have no idea.
It doesn't actually like follow the Disney movie, so maybe they don't follow that plot as closely as they have with like the Jungle Book, following the plot of the original Disney movie. But I don't know what's so great about the movie. Like, again, is the humor, and I've never seen Guy Ritchie do humor like that. So I don't know.
I mean, some of his early works have humor in it.
Yeah,
but it's kind of it's not your conventional comedy.
I don't know. This one worries me. They're not going to, from what I understand, they're not going to do any of the music for this. Okay. And which is like, you got to kind of pick and choose your battles with that. Like, it made sense what they put in like Jungle Book had like the Bare Necessities kinda, and it had King Louis song kinda,
which was weird.
Yeah, so those were a little out of place, but I liked it for the nostalgia. Like, I don't think you can do Beauty and the Beast without the music, and it's going to have the music in it, so that makes sense. I guess you could do this story without the songs. Like, the songs aren't what make Aladdin, but I do like that music, so I don't know. I'm pretty torn on this one. Like, of course I'll see it and I'll follow it through production and see what they're going to do with it. But I'm not as optimistic about this one as I have been with the others.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, okay, so this is what we're going to talk about when Nerd News. Normally, I have no idea. I mean, you just kind of put it out there and we talk about it. So I typically like that about the podcast is I normally don't know. I saw that and I was like, okay, I guess we're going to talk about that. There's no way we're not going to, after you had talked about your Prince of Persia idea.
Yeah, that wasn't that weird, man. Like 2 days later, they announced that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it when we, the Man from U.N.C.L.E. review. I mean, he knows how to shoot a movie. I mean, he did the Sherlock Holmes movies, which I think, especially the first one, I don't really like the second one that much, but I thought those movies got more shit than they deserved. And I really liked how he filmed those movies. So, I mean, he can do kind of a big budget type of action movie. So,
you know who they're going to get to play the genie?
I have no idea.
Robert Downey Jr., I bet.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know why. Like, everybody loves him. Like, he can do no wrong. So if he steps into the shoes of Robin Williams, nobody's going to get pissed about it, you know? Like, everybody loves, and he has that snarky attitude. I could see them going that route if he would do it. That just you saying Sherlock Holmes made me think of that.
I don't know if they can replace that character.
Not in my opinion, but they have to go with somebody like universally beloved.
Sure.
Like Tom Hanks.
Yeah, you can't really cast somebody that's never done a whole lot in that role and try to fill those shoes.
Yeah, he definitely, he was that movie for sure. This next one is not for either of us, but I feel like as a respected nerd news journalist, I have to bring it up. J.K. Rowling and WB Warner Brothers announced that I guess the Fantastic Beasts universe is going to be 5 movies.
Really?
They're going to stretch that shit for all it's worth, dude. They got a Universal Studios attraction devoted to Harry Potter, and the shit rakes in a lot of money. Like, they got us to keep telling stories in this universe. She's probably cursing that she ended the Harry Potter books with them being old.
I mean, I'm intrigued by this movie. I mean, I've seen all the Harry Potter movies. My wife and I went and saw all of them, so I've seen all of them. I don't really know the universe that well, though. This is just vaguely mentioned in the Harry Potter. Like, it's a book that he has that they mention a couple of times from what I understand. And they just kind of made it into its own. It happens within this universe, obviously, but I don't really know a whole lot about it. And I'm actually kind of intrigued. There's not a ton coming out around that time other than maybe Doctor Strange that I'm really intrigued by. And so I'll definitely go see this movie, and I'm looking, I don't want to say looking forward to it is a little bit strong for me, but I'm definitely intrigued by it.
Yeah, I'm working on my Nerd Year's resolution of watching all the Harry Potter movies. I'm going through that right now.
Oh, yeah?
I've started with 0. I've not watched any, except for, I guess there's the one I've seen. I saw in theaters with an ex-girlfriend.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, I fell asleep. Sure does not count. But yeah, I guess I should probably try to bust those out before this movie comes out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to wait until November, though. Yeah. Because, Shocktober. You probably.
Yeah. I don't know. Watching those movies is kind of scary to me, so.
I don't remember which one it is, but I think it's either 3 or 4 that's actually kind of not really scary, but it has tiny bit of horror element, more than all the other movies do. But
yeah, I don't know. I gotta get through those at some point before the year ends.
I'm doing terrible with my Nerd Year's resolutions this year.
I'm doing okay, mostly because you gave me shit, I think, last year about never doing many of mine. So
yeah, you're pretty pissed.
I don't think, like, I set a lofty goal of watching 225 movies this year. I don't think I'll end up hitting that.
I don't think I'm going to hit 180, and that was kind of me lowballing it a little bit.
So I don't know. We'll see. Last thing isn't really a news story. Just, I honestly put this in here for a cushion. So just being transparent there. John Berthnall was asked who would win in a fight between Punisher and Batman. And of course, what the fuck's he going to say? Like, he says Punisher. I think you and I are probably on the same page, but I thought I'd ask you anyways. Who wins in a fight between the Punisher and Batman?
It's Batman.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
It's pretty easy for me.
I think it was. I was just curious. I was curious if you throw a curveball and say Punisher because he uses guns and Batman doesn't, unless it's directed by Zack Snyder.
Yeah,
but it's not even a contest in my opinion.
I mean, I can't even imagine a scenario that he would win.
Exactly.
I mean, it would never happen because it's Marvel and it's DC, so we would never see it.
No.
But
I think Bruce Wayne beats the Punisher, like even without all his gadgets and the costume.
I wouldn't go that far.
He's a fucking ninja.
I don't know about all that, but if I'm being realistic, like, neither one of them would win because it's comic books and I'm a little jaded about that kind of thing.
Oh, like, Jesus Christ. Don't get all fucking high and mighty on your Nerds You're Looking For podcast now. Well, that's like going into the comic book shop and being like, these fucking nerds playing board games. It's like,
I'm just saying, like, they're big characters and they're big franchises, so if they're not gonna kill one of them.
Jesus Christ. All right. Whatever, man.
Sometimes I just say things just to troll you.
I'm aware. All right. That's all I have for nerd news.
All right. So our main topic changes from episode to episode, and we're going to be reviewing a movie that I never even thought I would even see. So Tyler had mentioned he's trying to be a little bit more transparent. I'll have to admit that, I mean, we like to change it up a little bit with the main topic, but we review a lot of movies and TV. And honestly, it's tough in between the summer movie season and the awards season. And we're kind of left with some pretty shitty options. And we decided to go with The Accountant, which honestly, like I've said this in the past, like this podcast has opened some doors for me. We get to do things that I never thought I was going to ever be able to do, like make a short film or go to Indie PopCon and stuff like that. I never thought I would actually do. But on the flip side, I also had to go see The Accountant, which I never thought I was going to do. So I did get to see it at the AMC, which for our Evansville listeners, well, I mean, it's a big chain, and I think they did renovations on all their AMC theaters. So if you live near one, definitely check it out, because this is the first time I'd been there since they finished renovations, and it was fucking fantastic. Not just like the reclining seats and everything, but they must have upgraded their projections and stuff like that, because it looked fucking fantastic. I mean, the movie, we'll get into that here in a little bit, but I mean, it was super, super clear. I don't know if just because I'm used to Showplace and they're kind of shitty a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Showplace. We're fucking calling you out.
Yeah. Get better projectors, because, it's a little distracting, but I think I was just kind of used to that. And then when I saw one that was like brand new, I was like, yeah, this is how it should be.
It's cheaper than Showplace too, for what it's worth.
Yeah, it actually is. I mean, I didn't care this particular opportunity because I had a Fandango gift card, and they're the only theater that takes it, because Showplace doesn't take it.
I'm going to like go into Showplace to see the next movie. They're going to be like, get out.
I doubt that.
No.
I'd like to think that we had that reach, but no, we don't.
No, we don't.
But so it was like $4, but I also saw it on noon on a Saturday. So, yeah. But this movie, The Accountant, was directed by Gavin O'Connor, which he's the director of Warrior and Pride and Glory, which I've never seen either one of those movies. It stars Ben Affleck, Anna Kendrick, and J.K. Simmons. Affleck is an autistic
Affleck or Aflac?
What did I say?
You said Affleck like the fucking insurance.
Anyways, now I'm embarrassed. But you threw me all off. God damn it. Just let me get through the synopsis. Is an autistic accountant who uncooks the books for some shady clients. He takes a relatively safe job at a robotics company. Shut up about it.
Did you write that?
I did write that.
Uncooks the books?
Uncooks the books, yeah.
All right, cool.
Stop shaking your head. I feel like you're silently judging me now.
No, I liked it.
At a robotics company that turns out to be anything but safe. So we start off each review by kind of just giving a general overview. We call it broad strokes. So Tyler, how do you feel about The Accountant?
I think that this might be one of the rare reviews where we disagree a little bit, judging by your hints in the intro. I enjoyed The Accountant.
Really?
It's by no means a perfect movie, and I think that some of the storytelling and some of the connecting the dots for me was a little fuzzy. Certain plot points were hard to follow, and I don't know if it's because I'm dumb or because
it's probably because you're dumb,
or it's because I missed something. But things kind of get patched together throughout the movie in weird ways. But I thought that this was a cool movie depicting some issues with mental health that I don't want to say are unfavorable, but I think that there are certain what's the word I'm looking for, stigmas associated with mental health, and this movie kind of tackles it head on what people with certain disabilities are capable of.
And apparently you're capable of becoming an assassin.
There are some stretches in this movie. Like I said, it's by no means perfect, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought that some of the action was good. I thought the acting was really great. And I don't know, Anna Kendrick's just very lovable. She was always fun to watch. So
I can agree with you there.
Yeah, I don't know if that I have much more to say about it in broad strokes without getting too much into story. I will say that most of my problems are going to lie in story, but performances were great, and I don't know. It's not a movie that I'm going to watch a ton over my lifetime. I'll probably end up getting it on Blu-ray. But
wow.
But I did enjoy it for what it was, especially being the middle of October.
Yeah, I will never watch this movie again. Like I said in the intro. Yeah, I did not foresee myself ever watching this movie to begin with. I saw the previews, and I actually almost mentioned it for Trailer Trash a while back.
Really?
Like,
That's
it looks
surprising.
super fucking stupid. And the fact that this movie is over 2 hours, I feel is criminal. Like, it is dreadfully boring. In about, I would say the first act is just unbearably boring. Like, there's a reason why they don't make action movies about accountants, because their job is so fucking boring.
See, I didn't go into this movie thinking it was an action movie.
They have him with the gun throughout the entire trailer. Pretty much.
But like, you know, The Departed, I wouldn't consider that an action movie. And on the cover of The Departed, every character is holding a gun.
I think that's an action movie. It's a mob
drama.
movie.
It's drama.
Well, I mean, I feel like we're splitting hairs and we're getting a little off point. But yeah, I just think that it was super, super boring, that first part. Like, they thought that they were uncovering some big conspiracy, and I was just like, I don't give a shit about any of this. This is not fascinating to me at all. I understand that these types of movies have been done so many times and that you kind of have to go at it at a different angle, but the accountant angle is just super, super boring to me. I do like that there's a couple of times where they make fun of him for being an accountant, and I appreciate that, because yeah, it was super, super boring. But I will agree somewhat that they made a solid attempt. They had some foundation to this movie that I did appreciate. I did like that there was some character development, because with these action movies, and I do consider this an action movie, you don't always see that in the just like straight up action movies. Like, I think some of the character development was a little bit forced at times, and we'll talk about that in the story, but I do appreciate that they at least tried. There was some good acting, I will agree there, but the story was just, it was not good. Like you said, some of the dots that they try to connect were really far-fetched, and I'm going to kind of step on my toes. Well, actually, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get into the story.
Okay.
What didn't you like about this?
Like I said, there were certain plot points that for me were hard to follow. Like, I feel like some of the accounting stuff, like, I have no accounting background. I don't know
that was
anything about
super
it.
Boring.
And whenever they try to use that as a plot point to move the story along, like something in the accounting or something in the books, it's like, I can't follow that. I don't have an accounting background. And like I said, I might be just dumb, and it's something I'm supposed to know.
It's just super fucking boring.
But overall, besides like kind of taking leaps of faith with some of the story, I like how the movie wraps up. But I will say there's a couple twists at the end of the movie, and one of them I saw a mile away.
It's so obvious.
Yeah, it's very, very. One of the twists is very obvious, and I was disappointed at how obvious it was, and that twist wraps up the movie a little too nicely.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with you. There were a lot of issues with the story. I think that maybe I was more drawn to this movie just for the character development.
Yeah.
And the performances. I didn't have as big of issues with the story as I'm guessing that you're going to get into, but it is by no means a perfect movie. The plot is a little all over the place.
Yeah. With a lot of the films that we review, I always seem like I'm kind of a broken record. The story is always the aspect that I pick apart the most.
I mean, and it should be probably in most cases the most important part of a movie.
And for me, and I've talked about this a few times before, movies and TV, and I think it's just a problem with just storytelling in general. You want to wrap it up in like this nice little bow, and I feel like a lot of times it becomes way too small world. And this movie, it just is horrible about that. Like, there was so many little plot points that wrapped up so nicely at the end that I was just like, there's no fucking way that all of these people would be weaved all together like this. All of it, not even the big twist at the end, which was super, super obvious. And that twist bothered me on two different levels. One, it was super, super obvious, and it bothered me as a film goer that they didn't think that we were going to get that. Like, they thought that was going to be a big twist at the end. And it was so obvious that it kind of disgusted me a little bit. And on another level, but also I forgot my train of thought in like mid sentence there. But, yeah, it was super, super obvious. Oh, his character could have been anybody like that. It kind of goes back to what I was talking about with the small world problem. It's just they could have hired anybody, and it just so happened to hire this particular person. And they plan it so much throughout the movie. Like, they have these flashbacks, and there's always this character in the flashback, and then you are waiting for that character to, and it's just by the second act you realize who that character is, and it was really bad.
That character, without giving anything away,
I was trying to be vague, obviously,
drastically changes from the first time you see him or her to the last time you see him or her.
Yeah,
like the first time you see this person, they're snotty, and you can see that you're really going to hate this character. But by the end of the movie, where twists are revealed and so on and so forth, it's a totally different mannerisms, totally different way of speaking. It's really weird. The person who played this character was not consistent throughout the movie in their performance. Yeah,
and it was kind of weird because they kind of plant that he's going to be kind of not envious, but kind of bitter by the attention that this other person is getting. And that's not how the character reacts to the situation at all. They want you to feel for these two characters and feel their bond, but then they don't even grow that relationship. Like, you only see it in the flashbacks, but you don't really see them bonding really in the flashbacks, other than maybe there's a fight scene in the middle, which was super, super weird, by the way. Other than that, you don't really ever see them bonding per se. And so the ending, even though it was obvious, it just kind of seemed forced. And there was a lot of little things about the character development in this movie that kind of bothered me, like the art thing. That was literally only in the movie to create this bond between the accountant and Anna Kendrick's character, which I thought she was adorable, as she is in pretty much every movie that she's ever done. But like, I don't know that those two characters would have bonded like that. Like, I don't think that that's a natural, like, I think she would have just thought he was a creep and moved on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like that was a natural fit. I liked them together because I thought that they played off of each other really well.
Yeah.
The two characters, but I don't
polar
think
opposites.
Yeah, for sure. But I just don't think that they would have actually been in that situation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not going to disagree.
Well, it was kind of your job to disagree. You're the one that liked the movie.
I don't know. The more I think about it and we talk about it, like, the story is far from perfect. I think that it kind of played. I don't want to say played to me because I'm not autistic or anything, but like that.
I'm curious sometimes.
but that idea of the movie and the mental health angle is really what roped me into it. Especially some of the stuff that's revealed at the end of the movie, I really dug. So I think that's why I was more interested in it. Like, when was the last time you saw a movie with the main character that was autistic? But I think that, is Dustin Hoffman autistic in Rain Man?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the answer probably. But it's a different type of autism, and he's obviously high functioning. So I just thought that was really interesting. It was a really cool way to make a movie with a character like that. Yeah,
I just think it's super, super far-fetched that he would become this person. Like, they show him who, he's not even really functioning.
And that's kind of like the plot points I'm talking about. Like, the whole time, like, you're going to flashbacks and stuff and you're expecting to see how he gets where he is. And by the time you kind of find out why he's like a great assassin and why he's trained like this, it's really just a letdown. Like, you would expect there to be a bigger twist maybe in his background that made him who he is. But in reality, it's just, I don't want to say lazy story writing, but just weird story writing.
There's so many threads, and there's just no way that they were going to be able to kind of tie all those together. Like, you never really find out him being in the army. That was kind of brought up and then dismissed really quickly. And then they keep talking about his moral code, but then they never really explain what that, I mean, I understand, like, they want you to empathize with the character and want you to kind of understand that, yeah, he works for all these bad people, but he's not really a bad guy. He kind of is a bad person. Like, he's making money off working for all these criminals. So he's not the best person, but as a hero, we have to have something to kind of, he's this bad person, but he has his moral code. And it just feels lazy to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't agree, but I don't really have a rebuttal.
Okay, so you want to just go ahead and move right on to performances?
Yeah, that works. I mean, I already kind of hinted at it. Like, I think the performances in this movie were some of the best parts because it's a really strong cast between Ben Affleck, Anna Kendrick, John Berthnall, and J.K. Simmons. And I feel like I'm missing somebody. But, John Lithgow.
I forgot he was in it.
Yeah, it's a really strong ensemble cast, and I feel like everybody did really well. Like, I don't believe I have any. Oh, Jeffrey Tambor was in it for a little bit too, and he was great. But no, I don't believe that I have any complaints about the performances.
Yeah, I was actually surprised at how much I liked the acting. One thing that I actually did enjoy about this movie was the acting. I don't think that Ben's a very good actor. I really don't. I think every time I see a movie, I feel like I'm just seeing him. Like, I don't feel like I'm seeing the characters. He's obviously a really talented director and storyteller, so I certainly appreciate that. But I just don't think he's a very good actor, and he just always seems uncomfortable. Like, he never loses himself in the character. But in this particular film, he's uncomfortable and kind of weird, and that fits the character because that's what the character is. So I was really kind of blown away by how good he was. And then Anna Kendrick, again, we talked about it earlier. She was fantastic. And I liked how they kind of bounced back off of each other, even though, again, I don't think that those characters are the best fit, but I liked her performance because I like her. J.K. Simmons, I thought was really good. There was a scene where the opening shot is just like this flashback and you never really see the guy's face. And it turns out that it's J.K. Simmons' character. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. And then you actually get to see the end of that particular scene. And I thought that was a bit of an overacting. But other than that, that's kind of my only thing that I didn't really like about the acting. But other than that, it was really solid performances. Like, I was expecting bad performances and I did not get that at all.
Cool.
All right, so action.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about action in a movie that's not an action movie. I don't know.
Oh, yeah?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking with you. It's fine. I mean, no big set pieces. I guess the end is probably like the biggest set piece, and even that's not too big. And I think that's probably why I'm not like I have a hard time calling it an action movie. I think it's more of a drama. Because there's no,
it's an action movie.
There's no big action piece in this movie. Like I said, like you could argue the end, but to me, that's still not that big. Like it feels very contained.
I mean, they have the thing on the farm that was pretty big.
I mean, it was all right.
I think you're setting the bar for an action movie really, really high if you don't think that this was an action movie.
I don't think, a lot of times movies have multiple genres on IMDb, and action is definitely one of the genres, but I don't think it's its main genre.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have any complaints about the action. I don't have any complaints about it. I didn't love it either. So
yeah. I bet Matt Damon's pissed that they basically just stole Jason Bourne. Like, that's that character pretty much.
I don't know. I've never seen any of those movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. It is.
Well, maybe that's why you don't think it's an action movie.
Like, I'd like to watch the Jason Bourne movies. It's just not like top priority for me. Obviously, they're like super old now, except for the newest one. So
I haven't seen the newest one. That's the only one I haven't seen.
Obviously, you were eager to go see that one. Obviously, you think highly of the franchise.
Yeah, I've
heard Bourne Identities are like amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Anyways, again, off the rail. Yeah. I just don't think each of us have a ton to say about the accountant.
I'm pretty much done. That's
maybe we'll have more to say next week.
I guess we don't really need to talk about the action because it's not an action movie.
I was just going to say maybe we'll have more to say next week whenever we review Boo, a Medea's Halloween.
I don't even know what we're going to do next week. We should probably plan that.
I just assumed we were reviewing Medea.
I've never seen any of those movies, as surprising as that might be.
I really wish I could say that.
Which one? The Christmas one? Did you see the Christmas one?
I don't know which one it was, but you're not going to be surprised by this. Believe it or not, my wife thinks Medea is just fucking hilarious and loves that shit.
That does not surprise me at all.
So, like when we were dating and I was trying to move a little closer to her heart, I put up with some movies that I would not otherwise put up with. And I watched one of them. And the thing about those movies, and I don't think it'll probably be in that Halloween movie, but like Medea's not in them a lot and it's super fucking depressing. And then she comes in a few scenes like, that was a terrible impression. I was going to try to legit go for it. And then I'm like, I'm not going to try to legit go for it. But she comes in and she does Tyler Perry does his whole shtick. And like, there's some levity, but those movies, like, especially the earlier ones that feature her, are super dark and like super depressing. And yeah, I don't know. Side note.
Yeah, this got weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, The Accountant star rating
3.
3, really.
I was good. Like, as soon as I got out of the movie Thursday, I was like, I'm gonna give it a 4. And then I
would have punched you in the face.
I started thinking about it. I'm like, I'm gonna go 3.5. And then by the time we finally got to recording this, a 3. So
I was going between 2 and 2.5, and I think I'm gonna stick with a 2.
That is deranged.
A 4 would have been podcasted over. That would have been ridiculous. I mean, this movie's not good.
All right.
So we like to end each episode by capping it off with a nerd favorite. Tyler and I like to take turns asking a really nerdy question. What your favorite blank is. The topic changes from episode to episode. It's my turn this episode, so I'm going to ask you, as we just reviewed The Accountant, I'm going to ask you what's your favorite Ben Affleck movie.
Talk about making things weird. You made that super fucking weird.
Well, I didn't want to get accused of saying his name wrong again. I guarantee you while I'm editing this, I will have noticed that I said his name wrong. But anyways, he actually, I mean, he does a lot of shit, but I was looking at all his movies, and there's a lot of pretty good choices. Chasing Amy, Dogma, Extract. Have you ever seen that one?
Extract?
Yes.
No,
it's pretty funny.
Is that the Mike Judge movie?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, more recently you have Argo in the Town, but I'm going to go with the classic Good Will Hunting. We did a couple episodes last year where we talked about our top 10 favorite movies. We did an episode, 2 episodes each for each host, obviously. And Good Will Hunting, I kind of made a list of top 25, and that film was on that list. It didn't crack my top 10, but it's a phenomenal movie. It's one of those movies that, in a vacuum, like as a story, I think it's probably close to perfect. Like as far as character development and all that good stuff, I think it's just phenomenal. It's one of those movies where I've watched it probably 20 times, and every time I watch it, I find something else that I like about it. Robin Williams' performance is fantastic in it. Probably his best performance since maybe Aladdin. I mean, he's fantastic in that movie. So, Good Will Hunting, awesome. I think is kind of the obvious choice.
Yeah, dude, that's definitely a great one. I'm going to go with The Accountant.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but you are going to probably be upset with what I'm going to choose, because he does have really good movies, and I was leaning towards maybe one of his Kevin Smith movies, but I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to go with Gone Girl. Okay. I know that you and I aren't on the same wavelength with that movie, but I've brought it up multiple times on the podcast, and I really, really enjoy that movie quite a bit. I think that he's good in it, and I really like the twists and turns through the story of that movie, because I didn't read the book and didn't know what to expect, and it completely floored me when that movie going experience was just so crazy for me, because the twists and turns really got me. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Gone Girl. Obviously, the winner would be Good Will Hunting had you not picked it. But yeah, he gets a lot of shit, but there is some really high quality stuff in his filmography. I really like Argo. I really like The Town, and I'm excited to see what he does over the years, especially as he gets more into directing.
Yeah, there was a trailer for a movie, and I can't think of what it's called off the top of my head, but it's his newest directorial.
Yeah, I know that he has something coming out, but I can't remember what it's called.
Something by the Night or something like that. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, it looked kind of interesting, but unfortunately he's the lead in it, and I don't think he's a very good actor, so we'll see how that goes. As always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. They're both at The Nerds Podcast. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Google+. Vote for us for Podcast of the Month at podcastland.com. Comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Nerds You're Looking For. Check out our Twitch channel, which Tyler does a weekly stream Monday at 9 p.m. Central. You can subscribe, rate, review us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, basically any good podcatcher you use. We're on it. We really appreciate that. And you can also email us at thenerdsyou'relooking4@gmail.com. For Patrick Kuhn,
Tyler Hunt,
we are The Nerds You're Looking For. Take it easy, guys.
See you guys.